Welcome to the Big Motor Small Blade Podcast. My name is Buddy Pulley, joined by, of course, Seth. Chuck is nowhere to be found. Chuck is off doing other work, so we gave him the week off. Man's is working hard. He deserves it.
Yeah, I mean, if you see Chuck, he's a wild Chuck chucking.
Yeah,
so,
100%. I don't think he'd want to even be on here because, we're all in. We're all in tonight.
You might be.
Yeah. Denny Hamlin wins Richmond.
Allegedly.
Well, debatable. Man, I love Richmond. That was a fun time yesterday.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed going. We're not going to talk about the race yet. Just the atmosphere in the parking lot and the facility's nice, and I have a lot of fun there. So,
yeah, the people of Richmond are a different breed, which is I think they're might be the most underrated parking lot I think in NASCAR right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah, I don't know. I love the racing there. Like this was, we'll get into it, but I mean, I've always loved Richmond. Even has it's taken a downgrade in the last couple of years by some people. I've still enjoyed it the entire time. Obviously, it was on Easter. We've had this debate before, but we're going to refresh the minds of everyone else. What do you think about NASCAR racing on Easter?
First of all, I want to shout out Jordan Bianchi for having some base takes on the teardown last night. I didn't know. I was wondering what happened. Who was that, and what did he do with Jordan Bianchi? But he actually had some really good ones last night. But anyway, I don't see any reason we shouldn't be running on Easter. You can make the argument that it should be closer to home for the teams. I'd be fine with that because it would require less driving out of me. But it doesn't make any sense. Like everyone says, NFL and NBA have Christmas Day. They play on the MLB Thanksgiving. The MLB plays on every holiday from what, if you want to count Valentine's through fucking Labor Day. So they play on all of those.
And I'm sure. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I'm gonna guesstimate that Chuck would have had we know he doesn't like the Easter date. But what do you think Chuck was watching last night instead of the race? Because he wasn't watching the race the entire time. You think he was watching the tournament?
Either the tournament or baseball.
Exactly. So he's watching some sort of sport. So that proves it in its own right that it works. Ratings have been great. I feel the same way. I mean, there's no reason we shouldn't be racing on Easter. Give the teams give them a break by running it, close to home. That way you can spend the morning with the family. I get that, but there should be separation in church and state in the government. There should be separation in church and state in NASCAR, in my opinion. But I'm sure that's going to maybe divide some people, but I don't really care.
I mean, we definitely need to work on, obviously this year's one of those weird years where we have to take 2 years off for the Olympics or whatever. But we should definitely work because the past couple of years, other than I think the last time we had Olympics, we've had only one off week all season. That's a little ridiculous for the teams.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah. And then only adding a second one and making it back to back. Well, I mean, you do get some time to go on vacation or something or do whatever, but I don't know. It's just too long of a season. We definitely need to bake in another off week somewhere.
Yeah.
Even if we need to like make a double header sometime to do, keep the season the same length or something. I don't know. Help the teams out.
Exactly. I mean, we've harped on here before about doubleheaders and why that's not a thing. This was supposed to be a doubleheader. They were supposed to run Thursday, a cup race on Thursday, and then run tonight or Saturday night. I can't remember which.
I would imagine tonight.
Yeah.
Or Sunday night.
Sunday night. Yeah. But yeah, I think another candidate, if you want to keep it close to home and if you want to move it from Richmond, because we'll talk about this in a second. Yeah, Martinsville. I think we're both in agreement that would be a great place to run Easter. Somewhere, any of those places, really. I mean, we ran Bristol. It's not too far. Richmond, obviously, it's not terribly far either.
I mean, Bristol's farther than Martins or Richmond, is it not?
I don't know if it's that. I mean, it's only 3. It's further than Richmond, yeah, but it's not that much further than anything else.
I think if they wanted to do Martinsville or Wilkesboro, I think those are like the perfect spots to do it.
Yeah, Wilkesboro is another one. Yeah. And Richmond, it sounds like it's probably not going to have 2 dates next year. It's to be determined on which date is going to go away. I would imagine it's probably going to be the summer date, but I don't know.
I would kind of hope if they're looking to increase attendance, I would hope the answer is getting rid of the spring race and then just doing the fall race. Since we have too many dates in Virginia and Tennessee right back to back to back.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. It's probably good to have if you are going to run Easter, because it does hurt attendance a little bit. I didn't think attendance was noticeably down from Richmond races. You probably noticed it, but it wasn't like significant at all. Bristol Spring was more on Easter than it was before.
Of course, it was also the dirt thing. I think that people are more willing to go out and do that because it was different. And
I thought there was a decent crowd. Like, I don't know, Brett Griffin had too many mimosas or whatever. I listened to a little bit of DBC, and all he talked about was how empty it was. But he's definitely he definitely lives. His soul lives in the Bible Belt, so and his head lives out of his ass. So
to be fair, definitely some of the pictures I saw made it look really empty, but I don't really know.
I don't know. It looked filled in to me. I mean, you're never going to get back to what Richmond used to be. Richmond used to have grandstands all the way around the track.
Yeah.
So, but you could improve the racing. Hey, look, it's Chuck.
Yeah, what is Chuck saying?
What did Chuck just texted the group chat? He said Chase, which is his name.
That is his name. Believe it or not, his name is not Chuck.
Yeah.
Hang on, he's typing right now. This is top tier podcasting right here.
This is absolute. Yeah, he's. We told you he'd be here in spirit.
Yeah, just for the people. Well, never mind. I can't show our group chat. Sorry.
No, we can't.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. We'll let Chuck cook in there for a minute. But yeah, I mean, I think there's an attendance thing at Richmond that definitely needs to be. Oh, he's just giving sundress and double and all that shit.
Cool.
But there's definitely some attendance issues that need to be addressed at Richmond. So yeah, I think maybe not. Yeah, keeping the single date being Easter.
Yeah. Unlike Bristol, though, like Bristol could easily fix its spring attendance issues by, not charging $100 to sit on the backstretch. Richmond's pretty affordable.
At a race that's like probably 50% of the time going to rain out.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I meant to say that during the Bristol podcast and forgot, so I just felt now was a good time to mention.
Yeah, but yeah, you mentioned Richmond. I mean, the ticket prices are great. It's an awesome facility. You park close. Everything's right there, and we can make the racing better. We'll talk about it. We can make it better. But anyway, moving on to the actual race. Denny Hamlin got the win. Buddy Pulley, Denny Hamlin
awarded the win.
Yes, Buddy Pulley, Denny Hamlin, Toxic Kings. He wins Richmond in an overtime finish. I assume, giving your favorite driver. We'll talk about the what caused that here in a minute. Let's start from the top though. Obviously, we started on wet tires, not rain tires. Wet tires. Let me not get that wrong. But there was I thought it was a little clunky at the beginning. What do you? Yeah.
I mean, I remember that was something. I read a bit, other people's reaction to it, and I remember it being like, "Oh, this is really awesome. This is great." And I'm like, It was good, but it wasn't like, I don't know, it wasn't like crazy good. It
Yeah.
was all right.
Well, I was more talking about the cautions.
Oh, okay.
The NASCAR meddling with the Bristol proved to me several things, but this too. It proved to me that competition cautions are completely stupid and dumb and should 100% be eradicated. Like they're the dumbest things. Like we literally saw at Bristol how quick they can adapt when they have surprise tire wear, and that's what a competition caution is for most times. Is when we have rain, green racetrack, check tire wear. It's just another stage.
Well, and
No
the
points.
the argument about pit road is asinine. It's completely asinine. We
Oh my
We
God.
did it no problem at Watkins Glen. We had no
Yeah,
issue letting the teams
exactly.
decide when they're going to go on the dry
Dude,
tires and come down and changing them.
Literally, NASCAR runs a damn series that does competitive stops in the rain, IMSA. And then we also do competitive pit stops at road courses. Like, I mean, I kind of get it. I kind of don't get it. It's just, obviously they're working through this. Obviously, everybody's starting on rain tires, right? And they threw a competition caution at lap 30, and NASCAR said they were non-competitive pit stops because pit road was still wet. Okay? Surface level, if you don't think about it, okay, that seems legit. We've been bitching on this podcast a lot about pit road and how safety needs to be a priority, and it's too much of a not necessarily too much of a competition, but too much of there's too many elements that are just for the sake of catching someone breaking a rule than it is to actually make pit road safe. I think now that we are running in the wet on road courses and short tracks now, I mean, that's 5 road courses and 6 to 8 short tracks, really, even more with 10, 50. I mean, that's half the schedule we're running. We can run in the wet. We've said it on here before, pit road speed limiters. I'll give it to Brett Griffin. I just told him he had his head up his ass, but he actually had a good take. And I'm upset that he said it on that their show came out before ours, because I was already planning on saying this. Pit road speed limiters have a dry setting and a wet setting, where the wet setting is just significantly slower than the dry setting to avoid this. I mean, because if we're so worried about competitive pit stops in the wet, even though we've already done it before with no issue, yeah,
I mean, we've done it. We do it in Xfinity.
It was just dumb. It was just useless. It was just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, we do it in Xfinity with way less experienced drivers.
Yeah.
We haven't had a problem with that. And you can't explain to me, or maybe you can, but I'd love to hear it. You can't really explain to me why we're acting like we've never done this before, just solely because all of a sudden the track is only, an oval instead of a road course. We've done this before. It doesn't make any sense. The procedure is exactly the same.
Yeah. The pit road thing really doesn't make sense. The switching from dry to wets, NASCAR mandating that makes a little bit more sense. It doesn't make it any less dumb, I don't think. I mean, they have done this too much. They said they want to get away from it, but like we've seen so many times where they throw a caution and mandate what tire you got to be on. Yeah. And that's stupid. We claim to have the best race car drivers in the world, which we do. We have Shane van Gisbergen, but and we claim to have the smartest teams. That. Yeah, we claim to have the smartest teams, the most athletic pit crew. Let them cook. Let them do their job. Throw some shit at them. Look what happened at Bristol. We threw an absolute curveball out of a different baseball field at them at Bristol, and they figured it out. And you know what? It was a fantastic race, and everybody loved it. So I don't understand why we just got to meddle in everything.
Yeah, well said. I don't have anything else. It's just it's dumb. And also I have one more thing. The whole calling a comp yellow to throw dry tires on, and then everyone getting out there and going, no, we're not ready for dry tires. Like, really? If you're
Yeah.
going to do that, if you're going to waste all that time, you need to be right. And there's no excuse for that. All right, I'm done now.
We've seen a lot of races lately where they've just wasted time under caution. So I mean, that's something that needs to.
And the only one I understood
stop.
and was okay with was Bristol.
Yeah. Another speaking of wasting time under caution, Kyle Busch sexually caresses the wall, and we throw a caution in the middle of a pit cycle, and I'm gonna call it that. We talked all in Atlanta how they didn't throw the caution for William Byron and Michael McDowell wrecking on the racetrack. I'm sorry, basically. And you talk about how they didn't throw yellow because they didn't want to mess up the pit cycle because it messes up the race. And they're like, we don't want to screw drivers over because of this, that, third. That's not why they want to do it. That's not. They don't want to deal with the scoring issue. Like that's why they don't give a damn about the drivers. Clearly, because they wouldn't have thrown this caution because it royally fucked over Alex Bowman and Kyle Larson. Bowman more than Larson, but those are just two examples. I mean, like Richmond, the whole fucking race is a pit cycle. Like, let's be real here.
Especially stage 2.
If we didn't have stage cautions, I mean, we've said for years, Richmond is a giant pit stop competition. That's what it is, and. It was so unnecessary. It was Ricky Stenhouse at the end of the All-Star race in 2022 unnecessary.
Yeah, I don't have anything else for that.
Oh, okay.
It was dumb.
I came prepared today.
Well, you came prepared today, and I'm at that point where some of this shit, I'm just like, yeah, no, that's what happened. It was dumb, and I don't need to go back over it.
I mean, dude, I'd argue that that's what cost Kyle Larson the race. He lost control of the race right there.
They were really bad that last run, but
yeah, sure. but they adjusted on it, did they not?
Not that last run.
They didn't adjust on. No, I mean, did they adjust from the run before?
I don't know.
Okay, well,
I was kind of drunk. I don't know.
Oh, okay, all right, that's fair.
Also, I was there, and I couldn't really see his pit. So okay. I don't really know.
Yeah,
that's the one detriment of going to the race. If their stall's not right in front of you, you're probably not going to be able to tell exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, but whether or not he made an adjustment before that last, I guess it would have been the second to last pit stop, the last scheduled pit stop.
It definitely screwed them over out of a playoff point, though. I'll put it that way.
It screwed him out of a playoff point, and I think he lost control of the race. And we saw how clean air was king, which drives me up the fucking wall. And so, I mean, control of the race is everything at that point. He was going to have it based on the how things were going to cycle out there. And Alex Bowman had top 5 going and just got royally screwed over. I'm not upset about that at all. But a lot of the reason that this race was so frustrating was because the tire wear sucks. The tire sucked. Like, there was just not enough fall off. And don't give me that temperature bullshit, Seth. It was not temperature.
I mean...
You know why it's not the temperature? Because the wet tires wore just fine.
Yeah, but it's
the compound.
Significantly softer.
It won't make the fucking tire softer.
Well, okay, I'm not saying we don't have room in our current setup to have more tire fall off. I'm saying that compared to like last year's races that were in direct sunlight, this would definitely have less tire fall off. That was pretty much expected. At least I expected it.
Yeah,
But there was still tire fall off because you could see the difference when the different cycles were going on in stage 2.
Denny Hamlin should not have gotten stalled out. There's no reason he should have gotten stalled out. Like, I mean, 20 lap pressure tires at Richmond, dude, I don't care how cold it is. He should have been able to pass. He should have been able to win the race on raw pace just by having fresher tires. I mean, we saw what happened in the spring of 22. I know next gen was new and they didn't have the setups dialed in, but like they at the top, who was it? Harvick? Yeah, it was Harvick and Hamlin. Like, just blew their doors off on that last run. It wasn't even close. Whereas at least this, Hamlin got the Logano, and Logano did what he did. Is he blocks up the fucking track, and Hamlin's dead in the water after that. And it's just frustrating.
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, again, when it comes back to the next gen car, I mean,
I'm arguing with a point that you didn't even make.
Yes. But, I mean, again, I mean, like I said this on our car ride, or the ride back home last night. I kind of feel like anything from 2022 is kind of irrelevant because, yes, they didn't have anything dialed in yet, and now they do. And guess what? They're all dialed in, and they're the same car. They're all running the same car, practically. Yeah. And that leads to this. I mean, the stat that came out with, everyone was within 4 laps or whatever. Of course, Corey LaJoie hanging up the rear. Great driver he is. Had to get that in there.
Corey LaJoie finished last.
Yeah, on pace.
On raw pace.
Anyway, we wanted to point that out because it was hysterical. But
I found a penny on the ground yesterday in that KFC that we went to. He probably could have needed that. That would have been not the only penny he stacked yesterday.
He stacked a lot of pennies. They just weren't in the right direction. They were all making it worse.
No, he bought a bag of $12 plastic pennies for.
Yeah,
he stacked them all night. Anyway, back to the agenda at hand.
But yeah, I mean, it's closer racing does not necessarily equal good racing.
Michael Waltrip would like to have a word.
Well, Michael Waltrip, Chris Rice, there's a lot of people with bad opinions in the NASCAR world, and I'm not necessarily. No, I am calling people out. Fuck it. These are bad opinions. Yeah, I was trying to make it be like I'm not trying to rip on anybody specifically, but damn it, actually no, y'all need to be ripped on a little bit because these are bad opinions. And if you watch the races, you realize these are not correct opinions. They're not even they're just wrong. Like, I understand everyone's got an opinion and most of them suck, but like, these are verifiably wrong. Like, I don't see how you can argue otherwise at this point.
Well, and that's fun. It's funny because closer racing does not equal better racing, and that as far as the whole field taken into account, that applies. But even at Richmond, that isn't even necessarily true because we do see the top 4 or 5 cars a lot of times, for whatever reason, at Richmond, end up within a second or two of each other, all right there. It's just we don't have the damn horsepower or the tire to make it anything worth a shit. I literally tweeted last night when Logano was closing in and Hamlin was getting there, when all 4 of them were right there, and I said, no one get excited because they can't pass. And I mean, it's frustrating if anyone's looking at this. And the most frustrating part about this is that you can see how close we are to something great. If we just tweak this, we see it. It's right there. We see these guys being able to, like, run close together. We see these guys be able to utilize different lines. It's just there's not enough discrepancy in everybody else. But we're close. Richmond is not a bad track. I'm sorry. Like, it's just it's the scapegoat for this bullshit.
Yeah, but I mean, I think running it at night like we did last night kind of exacerbated these problems because
it definitely
last year in the spring race, the top and middle lines were open, maybe not to the full extent that they were in the summer, but they were open. So if you got kind of stalled behind someone, you could kind of go to the top and try and make some move up there. It never really opened up last night, just solely because there's only really, it's kind of the way it is in night racing. There's just less lines.
But that's the thing. It's like you don't even need, at Richmond, it's nice to have multiple lines, but you don't even, if you have a tire that wears anywhere sort of decent. I mean, there was only second and a half fall off, maybe. And if you had a tire that wore out, you only need a lane or two because guys who saved tires and guys who didn't save tires, you're gonna see those guys who didn't. They're not gonna be able to hold the bottom. They're gonna slip up off the corner, and those guys that have fresher tires or have managed themselves better are gonna be able to get by. Richmond is a track where you can have both. You can have a single groove track, or single or ish groove
lane
track.
And a half.
Chris. Or you can have racing top to bottom. Either one works. It's just we don't have the car for it right now. I'm sick of Richmond taking flack.
Well, yeah, and I don't really understand why everyone piles on Richmond. I guess it's because the races were not exciting before next gen, and now they're not exciting now. But I mean, ultimately, it's no worse than Martinsville is right now, or Bristol, other than last week. And that, sorry, that was a fluke. I don't think you're going to be able to make that happen again. So unfortunately, this is probably going to happen to Iowa, and we're going to have people like, oh, why the hell we go to Iowa? What a waste of time, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that about Iowa because it's going to be 150 degrees during the day. And
you mean like it was last summer at Richmond? And that race was awful.
Oh, yeah. Never mind. You're right. Never mind. All right. Next topic then. Okay. Anyway, Martin Truex dominated the second half of this race. It's funny. As soon as he got out front, I lost interest, and that's not even anything against Martin Truex. It's just literally, we say it all the time, the most boring 3 hours of your life if Martin Truex is leading a race, for whatever reason. I have a theory, but he was running away with it. Denny got stalled out behind Joey, and then Kyle Larson gets turned around by Bubba Wallace. They say Bubba came up and apologized to Kyle. Kyle was fine with it, as Kyle is, because Kyle doesn't really care most of the time.
And Kyle benefited from it.
Yeah, exactly. But, like, are we buying that?
That it was an accident?
Yeah.
I guess.
I've seen a couple different replays of this. Bubba says he got loose. It doesn't really look like he got loose. It doesn't even look like he's in a four-wheel drift off the corner. It looks like he just wrecked him.
Yeah.
I mean, who needed a caution right there?
His team owner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, who signs Bubba Wallace's checks?
Yeah, I mean, we said this in the moment last night, and I felt like I was gonna feel kind of stupid after when the morning, whenever. I'm not convinced it's not for that reason. I don't want to say that because it just sounds so icky.
I'll say it. I think he wrecked him. I think he just spun him out. I think Larson. I don't think it was solely because Denny Hamlin needed a caution. I think part of it may have been like him and Kyle maybe been racing hard. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention to them. I don't know if they've been racing hard and Bubba was frustrated and he decided, well, I could kill two stones with one bird right here. I didn't mean to say that, but we'll leave it.
All right, Rick.
Yeah. And I'll spin this 5-car out because he's pissing me off, and also I'll help Denny. So I don't know. Nevertheless, set up. Oh, God.
I think it's entirely possible he was only disappointed about it afterward because it didn't work out for him. That is entirely possible.
Karma definitely bit Bubba in the ass if that was the case.
But I don't know. It's just like I think if it was on purpose, it was definitely just fuck this guy. He's been holding me up for like 15 laps here. I'm getting by him.
Now, let's think about this. Had Denny not won the race and the race had not been really altered at all, we'd be talking about this a lot more. Or no, had Denny won, no, what I meant to say was, had Denny won and not the way he did, and he just won it straight up, I feel like this got overshadowed, and overlooked because of what happened on the restart. I think there would have been an uproar if this is how Denny ended up winning the race. Which, I mean, it is how Denny ended up winning.
It is.
But
just wasn't the only bad, shitty thing to happen.
Obviously, that was with 2 to go. It woke a lot of people up that were asleep in the grandstands. And Martin Truex Jr. has to do the impossible task of succeeding on a late race restart. They come down pit road. Denny gets off pit road first because they busted off like if you blink, you missed it. Pit stop. I mean, just absolutely lightning fast. I think it was 8.9 or something ridiculous. Like, yeah. Truex didn't even have a bad stop. They just didn't have Denny Hamlin stop. And then we get to the restart. And that final restart, I can only compare to premature ejaculation. In fact, we have a friend in the media, I'm not going to say his name, who estimates that Denny Hamlin went early by the width of about 2 fingers.
No, it was more than that.
But I mean, obviously you jumped the restart, right?
Yes.
You can't call him on it, though.
Why?
Because he's wearing the Jumpman suit. It's his right. He could jump if he wants.
Shut the fuck up. No. I know you're being facetious.
No, he jumped the shit out of that restart, dude. I don't understand why restart calls take so long.
I don't understand why they get them wrong.
That's also true.
I mean, no, I understand why, because they couldn't be fucked to get the call right, because that would change the result of the race. But it's laughable. It's awful.
It's like a yellow line rule.
Pretty much. It's just as obvious. It's more obvious than that.
Well, what I mean by that is, like, I get it, they don't want to alter the ending of a race. But, I mean, they do it with yellow line calls. I mean, we see it, I swear to God, every year.
Yeah.
Somebody goes below the yellow line and we have to revert back to who didn't go below the line or whatever to see who wins the race. Same thing here. If you got to pull them down pit road and say we don't have an official winner, then pull them down pit road and say that. But, like, just don't get it wrong.
Yeah. Well, and don't try and... I'm so sick of feeling like I'm being gaslit by NASCAR. Because they come out, Elton Sawyer, who's, just having a hell of a year officially, and the whole team is. But comes out and says he did not jump the start. I'm like, you realize we can all see it, right? Like, there's video of it. The first text I had was, Denny jumped the start, right?
Yeah.
And I honestly didn't get a great look at it in the moment. But yeah, I mean, it's clear as day. It's clear as day. Like, it's not. And I don't know how many times I heard, I think it was a teardown. Well, yeah, that's the only podcast I listened to so far. But they kept saying NASCAR doesn't want to make ball and strike calls. This is not a ball and strike call. A ball and strike call is something that you have to make in the moment. If you get it wrong, oh well, that is what it is. There's no way to go back and fix it at all. This was a challenge, or this was a league initiated review in an NFL game. You have every angle you could possibly want, and you make the right call. Now, obviously the NFL fucks shit up all the time too, and I think that's on purpose. But NASCAR clearly had to have seen that it happened and said, we don't want to penalize him for it because it's not a good story, or it takes away something.
Martin Truex said Hamlin was he hadn't even fully crossed the first restart line, and Truex had already keyed the mic and said he went early. It was clear as day. And I will sit here with this Denny Hamlin koozie in my hand that I bought after the race because I had a great time pulling for Denny Hamlin to win that race. And pulling for the toxic king that he is to gaslight the hell out of all of us that he actually won this race. But, I guess he did win the race. Well,
he has the trophy.
According to Freddie Kraft, it's not over.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Do we think that's just an April Fool's joke, or
I don't know what it is. I think it's going to be a fine or points or something.
how do you find or give him a point for this? NASCAR fucked up. That doesn't even make any sense.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, NASCAR fucked up, but also Denny did break a rule. But they got to call it. You're right.
That would be a bad precedent. Hey, we're gonna let you keep the win, but we're gonna take some money from you later. That's just if we can hang on real quick. If we can DQ Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch at Pocono 2 years ago because they had a piece of tape on the front end, which obviously they were told not to, and it was the right call. But if we can do that, but we can't give Denny a tail end lead lap penalty after the race is concluded and hand the win over to, unfortunately, Joey Logano, that doesn't make any sense. Nothing about that makes any sense. And I feel like it, again, I think the slap shoes video, the NASCAR dam of legitimacy, it's applicable. It's super applicable again, and unfortunate. It's really unfortunate because this is a super easy call to make. And we just said, I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Basically.
And everybody's been weighing in on this, and I guess we will too. Josh Wise made some comments that said it's not a hard line, and it's this, that, and it's not as easy of a call as you think. Everybody knows they need to go early. What do you mean there's not a hard? There is a hard line. I see it. It's right there.
It's painted on the racetrack.
It's painted. There's two lines. There's some blue in the middle and Geico. It's right there. I see it. Like it's as bricked up as can be, if you want to put it like that. Like it's right there. I don't understand. Like, dude, I don't know if I don't know if you got your head so far up in the ass of Doge that you want to make an asinine statement like that. But like, yes, you got to go early in the zone, but he went before the zone. And people are saying Martin laid back, which might be true. I feel like it
didn't look like it.
It didn't look like it to me. And even if he did,
then penalize both.
Find a restart that people don't lay back.
Well, even then, if we made that point last year about penalizing
whoever
it was.
Yeah.
It
was after Kansas when Kyle Larson and a bunch of other people laid way back, and that ultimately cost Denny. Maybe that's it. It cost they didn't make that call then, and it cost Denny the win at Kansas. So maybe they're giving it back.
Maybe, I don't know. I feel like if you want to, if for some reason you had evidence that Martin Truex laid back, which I don't think happened, but if you wanted to do that, then you penalize both of them. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Or we can do the thing that like other motorsports do where we say, hey, that restart sucked. We're going to try that again. We've already extended the race artificially anyway, so what's aborting a one restart?
If you've ever seen an IndyCar race with Helio Castroneves on the pole, you've seen at least 3 to 5 re-attempts at the start of the race every time. So I don't...
But I mean, unfortunately, what we've done now is if someone jumps and they call it, everyone's going to be up in arms. It's going to be, and rightfully so, because it's going to be like, look, you just set this precedent. And I understand precedents are maybe not that important to NASCAR, but you just showed, hey, Denny Hamlin, that's totally fine. I mean, I guess maybe they're going to do something.
It's frustrating because a lot of people try to defend NASCAR and say, oh, well, NASCAR's in a box. Well, they put themselves in that box. Oh, look, it's the consequences of my own actions. Like, come on now. Like,
no, the only box in question here is the restart box that Denny Hamlin went before.
That's true. I don't know, dude. It's frustrating. The only solace I have in this, I do like Denny, but also I've said it before. I like Denny, but I like to not like Denny more than I like to like Denny, because it's fun and Denny's fun. But the only solace I have in the race ending this way is Martin Truex Jr.'s absolute fucking temper tantrum after this thing. Like, I looked back, I tried to figure it out. What did Kyle Larson do to Blood?
I don't know. Well, even
he ran into him 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah, nobody's talking about it. He chopped his nose off and doored him off too, and then doored him again halfway down the backstretch.
No, shit.
Yeah, you look at Chase Elliott's on board for any of those that want to know. That's where I saw it. Larson literally, or not Larson, Truex, just chops Larson off of 2, and then doors him down the back, and then, like, what are you doing, dude? Like, I get it. You're mad you're going to lose the race. And you were 100% going to win, 100% deserve to win. But, and you know you got screwed by your teammate, right? But, and this is maybe bigger than this race, this argument. But how many times does Martin Truex Jr. bitch about a late race yellow? Every single time. And you know why he's bitching about it? Because he never wins. Bro, just win. Just win the fucking race. Like, you lose every single time there's a late race yellow. I said this to you last night about Martin Truex Jr. I cannot recall a race where he outdrove someone. The only time I've ever thought of Martin Truex winning, it's because he had the fucking Jeff Gordon Jurassic Park car. That's what it seems like to me. And last night was a perfect example. He was gone as soon as he's got to fight for it. He's dead in the water. Like, I'm not saying Martin Truex is a bad driver. I'm just saying there's something significant there that's lacking. That he's not capital. He's not clutch. He's not clutch at all.
Yeah, it's a fair observation, and it's been documented over and over and over again. So,
yeah. I don't know. I was offended for your boy Kyle. I really was.
It might have been the only interesting thing to happen after the rain tires got taken off. So it was fine.
Yeah. That was ridiculous. Shout out to Kyle for giving it back though, all 4.
Yeah.
Like, don't take that shit.
Well, and also when Martin got out and he starts complaining about Denny running him up in turn 2 on the restart, he didn't really even run him up. Like,
no, he didn't. He didn't at all.
Yeah, he gave you a lane.
Well, and you look at it, I noticed this too when I was looking back at some of the replays. Martin crowds the hell out of him.
Yeah.
Through the center of the corner. Denny probably just got, it looked like he was chasing it because of that. Like, what did I just say? Oh, look, it's the consequences of my own actions. Like,
and also, I get being mad about it because, yeah, you got that one taken away from you. And is it safe to say he would have won the race if Denny doesn't jump the restart? No, obviously not, because he's on the outside. The outside hasn't really been great all day. Denny probably still wins the race if he restarts properly. So I get being mad about that, but it's not like that is the only reason you lost the race.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Other than that, anything else you got?
Do you want to talk about Josh Berry and Daniel Suarez at all, or no?
Oh yeah, thank you for letting me know. Upon further review, we have deemed that Josh Berry just wrecked him.
Yes.
He's on a world tour apparently. He got Kamui Kobayashi last week. He's got Daniel Suarez this week. I don't know when Shane's racing next, but he better stay the fuck away. That's all I'm saying. That's really all I got to say about it. He owned it. I'll give Josh that. I don't think he meant to. He owned it. A great run for Josh. I was borderline sundress material for me this week. They're having great runs. I think Martinsville is going to do great too. But he definitely ruined Daniel Suarez's race, and I did not appreciate that.
Yep, fair point.
Yes. All right. Yeah. It's no fucking around now. Let's get down to the rundown from Down Under.
The final time onto the front stretch. He comes to the checkered flag. He's won the very first street
rundown from Down Under. Man, Shane, it wasn't flashy. I'm proud of the boy, though.
Yeah, he ran fine.
He ran good. Dude.
I mean, he ran with his teammates. So
he ran with his damn teammate. He ran right outside the top 10 the entire day. Richmond's not an easy track, man. Especially in an Xfinity car. Tire wears high. You've really got to, I mean, it is a game of manageability, which Shane has proven he has a great deal of. But it's a whole different animal that he tackled on Saturday, and I think he did a great job. I can't remember exactly where he finished. I think like 14th or something.
15th,
but yeah,
I think. But
yeah, and his two colleague teammates were, I think, 12th and 13th. So, I mean, clearly colleague didn't have what they needed today or on Saturday, and I mean,
obviously, unfortunately, they picked the wrong strategy, but it happens.
Exactly. They went for stage points. I think that's what they were going for.
Well, I mean that last.
Oh, the last run. Well,
the last run.
That's what kind of set him up. That
Yeah.
But he beat NASCAR superstar Matt DiBenedetto.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive, seeing as Matt DiBenedetto's like the greatest.
Yeah, if you ask Matt DiBenedetto. But really, there's not much to say other than that. I mean, he did a respectable job. I know this is a little bit lackluster rundown from Down Under, but I think that, Martinsville.
It was a quiet weekend for Shane.
Hey, man, sometimes we need that. He has not crossed the finish line. Worse than 15th the entire year.
Yes.
I will live by that. I mean, that's factual. It's just,
It is very factual.
Yes, yeah. Going on to Martinsville, I got high hopes, man.
I think he's going to be I think he's actually going to be pretty solid.
I think he is too. We saw Marcus Ambrose always do well here. We saw Juan Pablo Montoya do well here. AJ Allmendinger did well here. Like, anybody that comes from a road course background typically is able to adapt to Martinsville pretty well. And I think Shane's going to be no different. He's proven. I don't think he's a guy that's going to get pushed around, because I think he's not afraid to give the pushing back, and I think he's proven that to the field. So if he doesn't get crashed or caught up in someone else's BS, I don't think a top 10's out of the question.
No, I don't think so.
Keep his nose clean. He can get in this thing. I think Shane's got the potential to have a good run.
Yep. I mean, I said it in our preview show. I thought his best oval would probably be Martinsville.
Yep.
It might take till the fall for that to actually come to fruition, but I think he's going to be very solid here.
Yeah.
For sure.
Other than that, appreciate everybody that tuned in to the clip version of the rundown from Down Under for last week, and just the podcast in general. We said a couple weeks ago it was 15 to 20% of Australian and New Zealand listeners and viewers. It is now up to 42%. So, as Childish Gambino once said, America, I just checked my following list, and you motherfuckers owe me. So shout out to everybody from Down Under for watching us, and all the kind words and grace you've given us in our ignorance. Let's see. Auckland is in New Zealand, which I knew that already, but I screwed that up. And they don't have kangaroos; they have
wallabies.
Wallabies, yes. Yeah. So, thank you, everybody. Seriously, though, thank you.
Thank you for graciously accepting us.
Yes,
dumb Americans.
Yeah, Seth and I have already began to very, very loosely plan a trip down there to come see all of our subscribers. Tell your friends, tell everybody, please subscribe to Big Brother Small Blade. We need all the help we can get. You guys are taking us to the moon for sure, or maybe at least take us down under.
We'll take that'll work.
Yeah. Other than that, man, I think that's it. That's all we got today.
Yeah, pretty much it.
Sundress and dumbass.
I literally have no one for sundress.
You have no one for sundress.
Yes.
Okay. Chase
That wasn't
said,
because I couldn't do it, because I decided no one was sundressed this week.
all right, well, Chase picked Denny Hamlin as his sundress. Wait, you kind of pointed out earlier, for calling NASCAR's bluff since they don't ever enforce their own rules. That's valid.
It's fair.
That's very valid. Good job, Chuck. That's the smartest thing you've ever said on this podcast, and I said it.
But he wrote it, so.
Yeah. Journalism, baby. My sundress is Bubba Pollard.
Oh, I forgot about Bubba Pollard.
I know. When you said no
it.
sundress, I was like, you're really overlooking this.
Yeah.
Dude, first Xfinity start, came home with the 6th place finish at a track he's never seen before. He's never done live pit stops before that I know of. I'm pretty sure that's true. It came out and had a great run. So shout out to Bubba Pollard, man. Hopefully you get some more runs. Tune into On Tour this week. We're going to talk a little bit about that and also cover the Orange Crush 200 that happened at Orange County Speedway this past weekend. So that'll be out after this show. Dumbass.
All right, dumbass. Elton Sawyer, NASCAR officiating. Absolute dumbasses. We went over it already. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if Chuck needs to pick another one, but he already did. He picked 2. He's more prepared on not being on here than he ever is on the actual show. He goes,
makes no sense.
he says, he goes, dumbasses NASCAR for not getting out of their own way and somehow effing up and effing up a black and white rule. But since Seth is probably going to say that, also the entire Fox team for defending it. Really, don't want to talk about that race anyway, so it's fine. I don't think I was supposed to read that, but I read it anyway. Yeah. He didn't send me a pic. I don't think.
That means we get to pick for him.
Oh, that's what he... Hold on. I know who he picked.
Okay.
So I get to go first.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even say my dumbass.
Yeah, you didn't.
Joey Gase. Get off the fucking racetrack. Not driving-wise. Do not walk on an active racetrack. For the love of fuck, dude. Please don't do that. Funny viral moment. Sure. Don't do that.
Yeah.
I rest my case. Picks. I picked Denny Hamlin. And I won by default. Cheers. Thank you to Denny Hamlin. We're all in this year. Absolutely. Known pissy boy Denny Hamlin got me 5 points this weekend. I'm proud of it.
Round of 12 exit.
That's fuck. I did lose a point last week because we realized I picked Bell twice this year, so I did get docked a point. So Denny, man, you really came in clutch for me. I appreciate that, man. That you're really rolling me through the field on these picks for sure. I'm glad you chuckled at that because that was a really dumb joke. Who did you pick? Who did Chuck pick?
I picked Bell.
I don't. Just go. Chuck can go last.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna pick.
Wait, hold on.
Oh yeah.
I haven't even picked.
You didn't even make a pick.
I wasn't gonna pick Ty Gibbs. I don't think I can.
Yeah,
I'm gonna. I think I'm gonna pick Denny Hamlin again.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm picking Ty Gibbs.
Yeah. Chuck went with Chase. That's what he was texting Chase for.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Wait, Elliott, right?
Yes, he's already picked Briscoe.
Okay.
Yes.
Or we could say he's picking Chase Briscoe since he didn't specify, and then dock him points later.
Congratulations, Chase. You just got docked a point. You didn't specify which Chase. Exactly. So Chuck picked Chase Purdy in the Cup race. He's not even in the race. And I picked Denny Hamlin. Seth picked Ty Gibbs. I don't know. What do you think about Martinsville? What do you think we're going to see?
A bad race.
Oh, okay. All right. I had a little bit more optimism, but okay.
What do you think? What do you think?
I mean, we improved from the spring to the fall of last year.
It's not going to be that hot, though.
And I feel like the package I do feel like the package has gotten better. A little bit.
Track's not going to take rubber.
I'm optimistic.
I'm glad you are.
Yeah. I'm optimistic, and I'm prepared to be I'm optimistic, and I'm not prepared to be disappointed. So anyway, so we'll be at Richmond or Martinsville. We will not be at Richmond next week. We're at Richmond this
I'm
past
at the
week.
wrong track.
Yeah. No, we'll be at Martinsville this weekend. Seth will be there both days. He's going to try to catch the Giz, and then I'll be up there Sunday. Thank you again, everybody, for subscribing and viewing. Seriously, though, tell your friends if you do like this podcast. Obviously, Seth launched fucking Push to Pass. Yeah, sorry. He launched Push to Pass last week. That did pretty well in the viewership. So if you're an IndyCar fan, definitely go check that out. And if you're a late model fan or want to learn more about late models, On Tour is coming. Episode 2 is coming out this week. That's going to be great. And then if you like NASCAR, and you're listening to this, you probably already listen. Yeah. All you New Zealanders, man.
Yeah.
Let's bump. Look, you have taken over sole leadership of the viewership of this podcast. Keep it coming, man. Stomp us dumb Americans into the dust. Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Other than that, that's all I got.
Same.
Cool.
This has been the Big Motor Small Blade podcast.
Go fuck yourselves.
I've been Seth. Bye.